Okay. Oh, okay. Got 5 likes without me saying a word. That's faith. Yeah, Kanika said there's a way to turn the mirror off. Oh, that's not it. No, I don't want to stop streaming. What did I just do? Retouch? No, that's okay. That's not it. What the hell? What have I done? This is why you do things in practice. Okay. What? Oh, that's not good either. What is going on? Lighting off? Okay. Okay, this is already turning into a bit of a shit show. Alright. That can't be right. There's got to be a way to turn lighting off. Green screen off. Okay. Okay, that's better. That's better. I moved the mic away so that I wasn't too loud. Oh yeah, but it's only pre-show, so I can put it back on. Maybe I'm not mirrored. I don't see myself mirrored in that. Okay, go to my channel. The Friday Night Ramble with Dan D. Okay. Yeah, that's me looking at myself. Live chat. Yes, open the panel. Most of Europe has been sleeping for an hour or two before your stream started today. It's just a suggestion to start earlier so more people can watch. That is a good suggestion. So what time is it where you are, Silly? I'm guessing Silly in Germany? Okay, so even though I'm in a small window here, oh, it's so that I can see the chat a little bit. Okay. Yeah, that's acceptable. We'll leave that. But yeah, what time have you got there, Silly? Or maybe that's just the message from before this started. That might be the case too. Yeah, no, this is happening. This is live on tape. Well, it'll be on tape for the people on replay, but it's got to be recorded live. That's how we do it. So to your question that you asked in chat, and I don't know if it's current or was while it's scheduled, but I'm going to move these Friday night chats all around the clock. I work night shift, so I never work on Fridays, so I'm kind of free to do whatever time I like. I'm trying to schedule these ones a little bit North America based, just because that's where the majority of people are. But I think I'm planning to do December the 12th around midnight our time, which is like 7 p.m. Melbourne, Australia time. So if you're from Europe, Australia, I've got one person that's watching my videos in Romanian. It's like 2% of all my views are coming with Romanian subtitles. So if you're in Romania and you want me to do a live at a time that's going to be conducive to you and your friends watching, leave it in the comments and I will consider it. There's no time that is a bad time. So who we've got? Okay, I guess I should look at that when I'm saying things to chat. But my notes are down here, so excuse me if I'm looking down. I'm trying to put myself more on screen rather than just the black screen. So yeah, we'll get better. Okay, so we've got 5:17. It looks like 13 minutes until showtime. Our N2 Moms says good evening and hello to the chat. Lynette asked if it is real or Memorex, which is a bit of a throwback to the VHS tapes of the day. I think my lighting is better when I, at least using my phone as a camera and my laptop as a research device. The laptop delivered a really sketchy. It looked like I was reporting live from Baghdad during the first Gulf War. It was there, eat, skip, eat. Yeah, I don't know why my hands were up, but yeah, very skippy. For everyone who's just joining, we've got 12 minutes until the show starts. I'll go over the show agenda. If there's any problems with the audio, let me know now. Got the lapel mic kind of here, which, because this is loud, that, yeah, I don't know, maybe it's good. I'll be using some sound effects. If those are too loud, let me know. All right. So the agenda for the show will be a quick introduction, philosophy moment. The A block is about the Olympic snow athlete turned snow fugitive, Ryan Wedding. B block is going to be the Lana Texts, as well as some letters or responses from Lana's brother to questions he was asked on the Reddit boards. And the C block is a what's new and who's who in the Booniverse. SKR was back. Saw a lot of people in his chat last night. I have an interesting video that Classified Crime has posted. Sumakum Loudmouth has a great series of interactive events going for her viewers, or any Sarah Boone fans at all. They don't have to be her viewers. It can be anyone's viewers. And Daniel Chavon is the one covering the journals, debunking as she goes. So have a look at her channel to get that information. We are at 5:20, so 10 minutes until the actual show, 10 minutes of pre-show. If there's any questions to be asked, now would be the time. If there are not questions, then I can return to 18th century poetry for a couple of minutes. We can talk about the SKR video if anybody had anything in there that stood out to them or needs some unpacking. He touched on quite a bit. All right. How long is this? Well, that's fairly epic. I don't know that we have time for that as a diversion. All right. Still looking good. 8 people here. Another nice thing about this is it really doesn't matter if you can't make it. I'm trying to make these shows so that there's something that you can check in on at your own time. So once I get going, I won't be looking at the chat nearly as much until we get into the C block of the show, when I'll try and catch up on any comments that have come through. Oh, thank you, Addie. That's a great point, Addie, too. Hit like. I don't ask for likes, but I do dry beg for them. So, you know, I'm not asking for a like, but one of the ways to do one is just to tap the screen a couple of times, and then the likes just pop up. So, you know, it's not like I'm asking it. I've never asked for a like, but I have explained how likes are given. And yeah, I have asked for likes on other people's channels, but that's just good manners. SKR video was yeah, it was a perfect Thanksgiving drop too. Like you know, I'm from Canada, so I had my turkey over a month ago, but I can imagine as you're sitting there in your little tryptophan haze and lean back, listening to the dulcet tones of Short King Reacts. Yeah, the perfect cap to an evening, and nice blend of older material, new material. Great editing in the video, the way he's layering the audio on top of, like, yeah, a lot to be impressed by. Take a sip of coffee. Is anyone familiar with the Ryan wedding story? Is that making waves on American TV, or is it just something that I picked up because of the Canadian adjacency? Every news source looked like they were either American or BBC, like international, but yeah, I'm not seeing much of it. And well, based off of the way that witnesses are going missing, I'm not expecting to see a whole lot of investigative journalists tying their name to it. Addie thought that Short King Reacts was a skateboarder. Yeah, I didn't know the Short King Reacts either. Like for a long time, it was just SKR, and I thought it was just random letters. And which, smart because it's an easy way to search them up. But then as I became more savvy and started seeing handles and how YouTube works, I was, oh, okay, that's who he is. Yeah, Meaning of Life Minute, that'll be interesting. I'm covering a little Eastern philosophy as a nod to our favorite Eastern philosopher ingenue. We have here a poem called Solitude by Lady Mary Chudley, who I believe is the author of Icarus too. I should have mentioned that when I read it. This is in metrical foot number, pentameter of 5 feet, a tetrameter of 4 feet, iambic pentameter. This is going to be difficult just to say properly then. All right, well, we are 6 minutes away. I think I have enough time to do the first stanza, and then we'll start getting prepped for the show start. 7 people, 9 likes, great ratio. 12 minutes in, 5 minutes away from showtime. Happy are they who, when alone, can with themselves converse. It's like me right now, but I'm not alone, I'm with all of you. Who to their thoughts are so familiar grown, that with delight in some obscure recess, and you could with silent joy think all their hours away, and still think on till the confining clay fall off and nothing's left behind of drowsy earth, nothing to clog the mind or hinder its ascent to those bright forms above, those glorious beings whose exalted sense transcends the highest flights of human wit, who with a seraphic ardor feared and a passion more intense than the mortal beauty ever inspired, with all the endearing ecstasies of love, will to their blessed society again the long-lost wanderers admit, where freed from all their former pain and cleansed from every stain, they bask with pleasure in eternal day and grow as pure and as refined as they. All right, 4 minutes to go till showtime. We have 11 people here. Sounds like the mic is working. Get back to the chat page to make sure I'm not frozen. All right. All right, we are 4 minutes by this, but that says 1 minute, because this would have started at 5. Maybe my computer's time is slow. I'm going to go off of this one. We're starting in a minute. So this is exciting. Let's just get zen now. "35 seconds to showtime." All right, 15 seconds. This is exciting, isn't it? In 3, 2, 1. Let's get ready to ramble! It's the live Friday Night Ramble with your host, Dan D. Hey, we're live or live on tape. However you're listening, thank you for being here. Jam-packed show with news from the Booniverse, Canada's cocaine fugitive, and more. But before we get started, just a quick message about the meaning of life. Does your life feel out of control? Fear not. Your life is not out of control. Everything is out of control. The universe is chaos. No one is in control. Instead of seeking control, seek flow. When life drops a boulder in your way, be the water that flows around it. Take action through inaction. This is the wisdom of Wu Wei. Wu as in Wu-Tang, and Wei as in W-E-I. Wu Wei can be your way to flow instead of control. All right, that's been a philosophy minute. Didn't get to ramble on too far there. We're going to go straight into the A block. This is about a Canadian news story, a little Canadian angle on a international news story. Olympic snow athlete turned snow fugitive. 2002, Utah. The eyes of the world are on Salt Lake City, one of the first international events after 9/11. Security concerns were on everyone's mind and patriotism was sky high. Little did anyone know, but the 24th place finisher in men's parallel giant slalom would go on to become an international fugitive, whose cocaine exploits are mentioned in the same breath as Pablo Escobar by the U.S. Attorney General. Ryan Wedding, a 44-year-old Canadian, is currently wanted by the FBI for a massive international drug trafficking operation with allegations that include moving 60 metric tons of cocaine yearly, a series of capital M's and attempted capital M's, and witness intimidation. Authorities believe he is in Mexico under cartel protection. A link to the U.S. Department of Justice webpage going into all the allegations in detail can be found in the description for this post. Not much to comment on that story. I'm going to let it speak for itself. It does remind me a little bit about the Netflix series Animal Kingdom. If any of you have seen that, it's about like surfers that are into kind of small crime, little family business, but things get bigger. I've only seen the first couple seasons. It had a real cool mood to it, but I started losing track of the extra plots. And so that's a bit of a rambly tangent, but check out Animal Kingdom. The first season, at least, it starts off great. And then if you like it, then don't stop watching it. But if you're like me, you'll stop watching it exactly when you stopped watching it. Moving on to the B block. The B block is about the Lana Texts. Now, this is my new most popular video. It was the night after a work shift, so I'd slept all day, woke up and saw on Reddit the Sarah Boone continued thread, a post that said, Lana was my sister, and here's some text messages. And it was 2 posts with enough text messages that it took me about 20 minutes to read through them. 20 minutes to read through them live. I probably spent a half an hour reading them before realizing that I should probably go live with these. Like, if I don't, someone else will. I think that they color in the picture about who Lana is. I think it's fair to judge all sorts of actions that she took, but in the interest of, getting to know people as complete people, I think these texts do that, and I think the brothers' responses do that as well. So without any further ado, I'm going to get into some of the responses. So this is on Reddit. The thread is Sarah Boone Continued. The user is a Confederacy of Dunces. This is all one word. His first reply I'm reading was to Verily Jules, who gave kind words and thanked him for posting it. Here we go. Thank you for your kind words. Lana knew she wasn't going to win any popularity contests, I think. She didn't really care much about what people thought of her motives when she figured she was helping someone who needed help. I spoke on the phone a few times and mainly just would say, "Are you sure she's the right person to pour this kind of support into?" And at the end of the day, she was an adult who made her own decisions. So I just loved her, and she did her thing. We didn't even talk about Sarah all that much, to be honest. I asked her once why Sarah kept firing her lawyers, and she would just say, "I'm helping her with that. We'll find a good one." And I know I told her that you don't get a trial dismissed for lack of counsel when you keep firing all your counsel. I would kind of throw little jibes like that sometimes just to see what she'd say. And she remained stalwart as long as she thought Sarah was innocent. That's the first response from the brother that I thought was interesting. The next one is to user Less Rush. A little bit more pointed criticism. There's some very direct questions about Lana's actions, and one of the statements was that she made the world a shittier place. So this is the response to that. I'm curious as to how she made the world a shittier place. I'm not challenging your viewpoint. I'm just curious as to reasoning. I'm sorry you had a shit experience with some crummy people. I just finished training 2 geologists from Ghana, and they felt lonely and cut off in a strange country. When the local populace doesn't even take time to help a fellow human, it can make you question just how good this world really is. My sister wasn't really someone to insert herself into things like an IAGO. If she approached something, it was typically from a "how can I help you" viewpoint. If you were screwed over by someone similar doing their own shitty thing, I'm sorry to hear it. Hopefully the universe brings someone across your path that restores your faith in humanity. Now, just a quick aside here. I didn't know what an IAGO was. I had to look it up myself, so I'm going to share the definition with you, and we'll all get a little smarter. IAGO means supplanter, deriving from the Hebrew name Jacob, which has its roots in the biblical story of Jacob holding on to his twin brother's heel. It is a Spanish and Welsh form of the name Jacob, and also means held by the heel, or can be related to St. James Santiago. In literature, Iago is a famous character in Shakespeare's Othello, where he is a cunning and malicious villain. So there you go. If nothing else, the Confederacy of Dunces is no dunce himself. Now, this next one, this is his longest one. It's kind of ironic because the first couple sentences he's saying, well, I'll get to this later, it's a good question. The user's name is Sadie Rex. Asks a little bit more diplomatically, but still, hey, how could your sister have done this knowing this? So I'll just get into his response here. And like I said, it's a little bit longer, so bear with me. We're looking at 5:36. Oh yeah, the time is doing great. We're doing fine. There's nothing to bear with. This is going great. Maybe just a quick sip. This is a good question, and I will answer more thoroughly a little later if that's okay. I have to drive back to my work site today, and I'll be out of the area a while. Suffice it to say, I'm the family skeptic. We grew up very, very evangelical, and our parents, Mom mostly, raised us to take people at face value and let the Lord judge them. And that may well be what Lana was doing at first. I have no doubt that that skewed viewpoint is something she struggled with her whole life, because our brother and I did too. We have a mother who will look at someone and she'll tell you that person's whole life story from a glance. I thought it was an amazing trick until I realized she was just judging people and none of that shit was real. Excuse me. Lana and our other brother were always kind of wowed by Mum's ability, and it may well have had an impression on Lana. Our oldest brother is still very evangelical, and Lana never quite let go of the church, although as we conversed more, she began to see that it wasn't the shining beacon of hope that they portrayed themselves to be. We moved a lot growing up. It forced us kids to either become affable and adapt wherever we went. That was me. I'm the youngest son and I got along with everyone. Or to harden and become closed off. Lana would spend hours in her room playing keyboard. She had perfect pitch and could play some of the most beautiful compositions. But she only had like 3 good friends. She finally elected to stay in Minneapolis when we moved, and I joined the Army in the mid-90s. She met her husband at the church that she played keyboards for, and I will say, that man loved her with the intensity of 1,000 suns. I've never seen someone love someone so completely and thoroughly as Dan loved my sister. He will always have my undying respect for that because it helped teach me how to move. I think he means love here. I'm going to read it as love. It says move. He will always have my undying respect for that because it helped teach me how to love my own wife as fully. Dan and Lana were best friends and just loved doing everything together. I think Lana was lonely, very lonely. After our father died in 2013, we didn't talk much, and we had a small falling out. I won't go into that, but we found our way back to each other about 3 years ago and worked out the issues. Maybe it was because she missed me or just had nobody to talk to outside of her husband and son. I don't know. I'm forever grateful for her reaching out, though. What you saw was what you got with Lana. When she was wrong, she would flat admit it and do her best to make up for it, regardless of the consequences. I have not followed Sarah Boone's case much at all. I learned enough to be able to talk to Lana because she enjoyed filling me in on the little things here and there, and I liked talking to her while I worked overnights on some jobs. She never said anything about Lana's interview with the cops. She just kept saying, things don't add up. George had a lot to do with her actions. She, Lana, had a very controlling boyfriend when in her early 20s who used to stalk her and call the family all the time at all hours. And then again in brackets, till I accidentally ran into him at the Mall of America and explained fistulely why he shouldn't do that again. I think her radar was up for anything she perceived as abuse. I don't know more than that as far as a possible motive. I plan to write all this later, but I'm having a wake and bake, so you caught me in a garrulous mood. Haha. I included a picture of our family in the early 90s, left to right, our dad, Lana, me, our brother, and mother. And if you go to the site, there is a picture. It looks 90s. You can see the resemblance. So yeah, that was part of when I was looking into who the user was who uploaded it. I think those messages really solidified my feelings that this was coming from at least a genuine place. He's not excusing her actions, but as a human being, I can understand it. It is what it is. Let's see if I have any notes here. Yeah, so within the community, the feelings towards Lana will range from, she's almost as bad as Sarah ever was, to she's a tragic figure with a complete redemption arc. And I think anywhere along that spectrum, if that's what you think, that's fine. But I think this kind of material, it's good to just take in so that you're seeing people as the complete people they are. And, obviously her texts, she was trying to present herself in her best light to her brother, but she wasn't presenting them to spin a story for us 6 months later. Yeah. So personally, I don't expect this to change people's minds about how they feel. Like how you feel about her going in is probably how you're going to feel coming out. But this has helped me see Lana as a more complete person. I think when I first saw her with the phone-in statement during the sentencing, I thought she was just as cartoonish as Sarah. Learning more through Tanika's coverage, added strokes. Just I was giving in my pre-chat earlier, like the Family Ties intro would have like the whole family, and they were just broad strokes of who they were. But by the end of the theme song, they were colored in, and you kind of got the nuances of all the characters who were kind of stereotypes for their time. I feel like this kind of colors in Lana. So that's that. So let's move on to what's new and who's who in the Booniverse. And the first note I have for this story is that SKR is back. I'm guessing that a lot of us had a chance to enjoy the stream last night. You know what? Before I get into it, I'm going to get into a little bit of chat here because Iago, Candace is correcting me, and I think she's absolutely right. I breezed right through it confidently, thinking it's got an I at the beginning. There's an A, Iago, but I'm glad that I fessed up to not knowing what it was because I would have to get called out here. Let's see, hear me out. Lana said Sarah is 100% innocent after seeing the interrogation and torture video. That is very different than seeing the Yeah, obviously, like, I'm with you. Like, I saw the interrogation, and I immediately was like, okay, well, I know that case. There's a few other messages from Lana's brother where it seems like she made it her thing to root for the underdog, and it probably colored her right from the start because she wanted to be the person that was there when no one else would be. It's definitely it's complicated. Pumpkin Porter, well, that's everything. LZB gives some hellos. Hear Me Out says, thought she was being manipulated by Sarah with the dangling kidney. I didn't know at the time how adamant she was at denying Sarah's guilt. Although maybe that's kind of why she was asking about how much alcohol that Sarah was drinking when Sarah came back with, I'll have you know, I don't even drink booze, and it's not nearly the story. It might have just been Lana trying to figure out if the kidney was even viable. But yeah, okay, so there's that. We're caught up with the chat. Excuse me. So the first story that I want to talk about before, I've mentioned it in the pre-show, but I'm going to start with this scenario. So if you're here, kind of close your eyes and imagine this alternate reality with me. Imagine if Sarah had been staying at Brian's house on that February 2020 night. In this alternate reality, imagine that Sarah had stuffed Brian into the footlocker at the trunk, or the trunk at the foot of the bed. I'm guessing he wouldn't fit into a small suitcase, but those big. Anyway, let's imagine that happened. And after Sarah went to jail for that, George would have been, imagine a situation where George was the only one left to take care of the son, with Brian being deceased and Sarah in jail. Now, if you imagine that situation, it's very easy to think about the situation that Ken Waddell is in. Ken Waddell was interviewed by Classified Crime. He's raising Kaylin Deller's daughter as his own. They were in a relationship, and Kaylin Deller is now in jail awaiting trial for first-degree capital M. So there's an 1.5 hour long interview on Classified Crime site with Ken Waddell just about how to navigate that situation. Because, for everything we heard about George and Sarah's son. It seemed like they got along, like they were seen outside playing, riding bikes together. What a situation. Could you imagine if, the two of them had to go through the rest of life? And it's a lot to think about. So rather than me just trying to channel all the emotion of an hour and a half long interview, go to a classified crime site, turn it on, listen, and very, very sympathetic story. Number two, this is Summa Cum Loudmouth. She is up to the 5th series of her Dear Sarah letters. If you haven't seen any of these, you have to check them out. The original assignment was write a 200-word letter to Sarah. A lot of these were very cathartic for people, where they just got things off their chest in the comments. Some of them were very, very funny. Some of them were super emotional. Some of them even gave authentic, heartfelt advice. So anyway, those are great. Watch those. But the new thing that Suma's going to be announcing, and I'm teasing it here because we're already getting some entries. She's mentioned this on live, so I'm not scooping her. The Poetry Slam is open. If you have a poem to share, if you have a rhyming couplet, if you have a limerick, if you have a haiku, if you have 2 words that rhyme and relate to Sarah Boone, put it in the comments and you're in. There's no deadline because this is a Sarah Boone thing. Worst case, if you're late, just send it to Australia and have them fax it to New York to save a day. But yeah, as long as the entries are coming in, just like the Dear Sarah, as long as the entries are coming in, she'll make the videos. Some of the poems will get the Dan D animation treatment. So there's a little bit of collaboration going on that project. And I've already seen a few good poems come in. So that's exciting. Check out Suma's channel for that. I think her next Dear Sarah series will have the official Poetry Slam announcements. So start sharpening your pencils and get ready for that. The final plug is if you want to know what's going on with the journals. I see Danielle Chavon is in the chat, and that's perfect because Danielle is covering the journals and debunking as she goes. You guys know I'm not touching it, but if you want to be in the know, Danielle Chavon's channel, I think, is one of the best sources out there to get both the info and the breakdown. So check that out. Danielle Chavon on YouTube, Summa Cum Loudmouth, Classified Crime. Those are the channels that caught my eye. Of course, SKR coming back last night. So there's all of that. Wow, we got through the whole thing in 5 minutes and 50 seconds. Or not 5 minutes. We got through it with 10 minutes left. So now it's chat time. Now we get to talk about whatever is on your mind. You've been talking about yourselves. I didn't have to give you a topic. I'm not verklempt. We've got lots of hearts, everyone's. This is good. This is good. This is fantastic. Hello, Care for JCYT. JCYT. No, but the YouTube. So Care for JC, I'm sure. Yeah. All right. I'm going to have a sip of coffee here. Maybe a hit of my vape. Anybody planning to do poetry? Put a little, I don't know, what will be a good poetry sign? A pen, a paper? Paper. I have my paper. There's a part of me that wants to do like a super, I don't know, complicated iambic pentameter, every syllable is absolutely perfect, and there's another part of me that doesn't want to spend more time than a limerick. So I don't know how I'm going to contribute. I will be contributing something personal, but yeah, there's a couple of ways to go with it. Hit the like if you don't like Sarah. That's a great reason why. And again, I don't ask for likes, but I do dry beg for them. So if you want to know how to like, just double tap the screen, and there you go. That brings them up. What else can we do? We've got the likes. I've done my readings. Does anyone want to hear the intro again? If you want to hear the intro, I'm not gonna just jump into it because I need to move the mic away. It's very loud. This will be a regular thing, though. This is going to be the Friday Night Ramble. I'm kind of parodying Friday Night Rumble it was the Friday Night Rumble? No. Saturday Night Main Event had rumbles. So I used to watch wrestling as a kid, and every so often, instead of Saturday Night Live, they'd have the Saturday Night Main Event. Michael Buffer would come out with the "Let's get ready to rumble." So I'm changing that to "Let's get ready to ramble." Everyone missed the beginning. Okay, let's do it. I'm going to move the mic slightly away because it does get loud. We'll put it down here. All right. This is exciting, isn't it? In 3, 2. Let's get ready to ramble! It's live Friday Night Ramble with your host, Dan D. Yes, we're live. We're live on tape. However you're listening, thank you for being here. It's a jam-packed show with news from the Booniverse, Canada's cocaine fugitive, and more. But before we get started, a quick message about the meaning of life. We have time for it, so why not? Does your life feel out of control? Fear not. Life is not out of control. Everything is out of control. The universe is chaos. No one is in control. Instead of seeking control, seek flow. When life drops a boulder in your way, be the water that flows around it. Take action through inaction. This is the wisdom of Wu Wei. Wu as in Wu-Tang, Wei as in W-E-I. Wu Wei can be your way to flow instead of control. Yeah, Sarah should have spent time with Wu Wei instead of Kintu Sukuroi. I don't know where she's expecting to get gold filigree in jail, but yeah, little Wu Wei would have gone a long way with Sarah. Damn, I wanted another rhyme with A, but Sarah Bay. Maybe if I was doing pig Latin, could have done the Mackenzie Shirilla. Wu Wei, your way, my way. That's the way. Flow. Action through inaction. And actually, if she took that to heart, action through inaction would totally suit Sarah. I think she would take the wrong lessons from that sort of thing, but that would be good for all of us. The less action she takes, the better society is. However, the more action she takes, the more content there is. So, and that's why I don't fight it. I just flow with it. She provides content, I'll mock it. She doesn't provide content, I'll mock the stuff she did in the past. I'm here to mock. We've got 23 likes, 23 people here. That is as good as it gets. That's a perfect ratio. Tam, you like the intro? I think I'm going to do it live each time. I think we'll just I could record it, but there's something to the authenticity of that, of the voice break-in, and, here we go. If the intro, another little piece of it, if anybody watched the Larry Sanders Show, great 90s HBO comedy, one of the first HBO comedies. It was basically, it's a talk show behind the scenes. So Gary Shandling played Larry Sanders, and Jeffrey Tambor from Arrested Development was his sidekick, Hank Kingsley. It's actually a really star-filled cast. Janine Garofalo was the talent director. guy from Kids in the Hall, Scott Thompson, was he was on for like 4 or 5 years towards the end. Rip Torn was, anyway, great show. But it would always start with Hank Kingsley or Jeffrey Tambor, if you know from Arrested Development, has a great timbre in his voice. But he would always introduce the show and start off by warming up the audience with, well, look at that sign up there. It says applesauce, right? And it says applause, but the crowd would laugh. He'd tell the same joke every time and say, this is exciting, isn't it? In 3, 2, live on tape from Studio City, California, and go into his thing. But anyway, that's what I tried to emulate with my beginning, tying it in with a little of the Royal Rumble. We're just a couple of minutes away from shutting down the stream. These Friday night ones, I'm always going to have a half hour that's a tight show that's meant to be clipped and rewatched and, enjoyed by people who can't make it necessarily at the time. Occasionally, I'm going to do extended after chats, and I'll just clip those afterwards. So when I don't have a hockey game to go to, like tonight, I will... Oh, I am backwards on screen. I thought I wasn't backwards this whole time. Okay, we'll fix that. But yeah, if I don't have hockey to go to, we'll go late, and I'm going to switch the times around. So I'll always put it up a couple of days in advance. But if you're from somewhere around the world that doesn't normally get to see North American lives, let me know what would be a good time for you in your part of the world, and I'll make it happen. I'll be doing an Australian one on December 12th that I think starts around 7 p.m. Melbourne time. So yeah, everyone's welcome to join, but I might ask some questions about some Australian cold crime cases that I've seen on Netflix, and ask for anyone in chat to fill me in on what's happened. Here a lot late from Minneapolis. Minneapolis, about half of the show was dedicated to a conversation between two Minnesotans, Lana and her brother. This is all going to go on public, so if you're watching now, you can probably still just like rewind back and watch it. But then because I'm a new YouTuber, it takes like anywhere from 2 days to, 2 hours to 2 days for them to upload my public. So it'll be up. But if you're watching now, just rewind. And so Adelaide, is that anywhere close to Melbourne, or is it like, are people sleeping in Adelaide when Melbourne's wide awake? Because I'm thinking Canada, and I know the Newfies are in bed while we're still watching hockey over here in BC. But and I can't totally engage. I got to go. A hard deadline. Hockey. Yes, Candace, I will go to drink the hockey. I drank maple syrup before the show. I got my igloo warming up, and it's going to be a good night. It's going to be a good night to have a good night. I hope everyone is fine. I'm Dan D, and I am leaving. Deb Richardson, South Australia. Look for my December 12th live chat, and it might be in your wheelhouse. I should have left on the fine, and I'm Dan D. We'll do that again. Okay, I hope you're all fine. I'm Dan D. Good night.